And so this class is going to be really fast without questions. Please ask all the questions you want. How many people know how many listings? Does anyone know how many active residential listings are in the MLS right this moment?
993.
You're close, 97.
96. Ooh.
It went up one. What's the average active listings in December?
170.
3,100.
Oh my God.
We have no listings to sell. If we've got 997 listings active and we know if we get them, they're selling, the best thing we can do is try to get our past clients who own a house or our friends and family who own a house to think maybe their house is worth a whole lot more money than they thought it were, and let's get it sold. So last August, I found this tool. You can see my screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we already had Cloud CMA as a company, but we added something to it and we made it, what's the word I'm looking for? We customized it for us, and it is inside Cloud CMA. If you don't know how to log into Cloud CMA, or you're not sure you want to get to it from the MLS, let me know and I can help you reset your password or your email. But if you forget your password, it's got a forgot password button right here. And this is connected to our MLS. So all you've got to do is find a property in the MLS, click on it, and you will be inside Cloud CMA, and you can navigate wherever you want to be in there. So once you sign in, it is so simple. HomeBeat is what this product is called. You click on HomeBeat, and it comes up and it says, well, here's the only HomeBeat you have. And I'm going to tell you folks right now, only 7 people in the company are using this.
So is that your active listings that show up there? What is that?
Don't even worry about that yet. I'm going to show you everything. First, I'm going to show you how to add somebody, and then I'm going to show you what they get. You click add. You put in a name. Let's see, I'm going to use Sandra Fuller. I know her email address. You only need 3 bits of information.
Now you're using her as a client, or are you showing
Yes.
us as an agent, as a client?
This
Okay.
would be as if Sandra was my client.
Okay.
Sandra, what's your address?
I got my pencil.
Sandra?
It's 1845 North Rica.
And you guys can see as I start typing it, it populates in there. Okay. So I click on it. And it pulls information right out of the MLS because this house has been in the MLS at one time. Now the caution is, because of the way we do things in this country, in this city, this MLS, versus the way the rest of the country does it, if they have a finished basement, we really need to add that to the square footage. If you know that, great. If you don't know it, it'll make your figures look a little off, but it works just fine. Because the important part is not necessarily what her house is worth, but what the other houses around her are. Sandra, do you have a finished basement?
Yes, it's a partial basement, and I should know that. The square footage, it's like 1640, I think, and they did finish out a 4th bedroom in the basement, so that's not reflected here either.
Well, let's put this in there.
Although it was marketed as a 4-bedroom when I bought it last year.
And
So.
and I'm going to tell you, while having this all accurate is important, and especially if you sold them the house, it would be a good idea to know. It's not going to affect it as much as you think if this information is wrong. So just bear with me on that. Then this email is automatically generated. Hi, Sandra Fuller. pretending Sandra is my client. I'm dropping you a quick line to know that pretty soon you're going to start getting HomeBeats for your home. As a homeowner, this is a great way to figure out what houses have been selling in your market. You probably know there are plenty of websites that estimate it, but in reality, those aren't accurate because it takes a lot of understanding the local market. I think you'll find this simple, reoccurring email to be valuable. If you don't, you can unsubscribe. And if you don't like how often you're getting it, you can change the frequency. And then it's signed for each user. And then down below here, I can decide, you can decide if you want this to go out monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually. That's it. That's all you have to do to set it up. Now I'm gonna come back to this after I set it up, and then I go send now, and I'm done. And I can go on to the next client. I will tell you, you can mass upload these, but I would not recommend them because the addresses won't show up right. Okay?
Maybe. I'll take her.
Hello. However, I want to show you what the emails look like. So first, this email goes out. Somebody's got their microphone on with baby in the background. Can you?
Oh, sorry. That's me. I need to mute again, I guess.
Okay. This is the email that your client actually receives. And I didn't type my name out, in upper level, but that's the email that I read to you. And you guys can change this and type in whatever you want if you want to, but it takes more time to type things in. I've asked them to make a letter in Spanish for those that speak Spanish, but I also know that if you change this letter, it will stay that way as long as you're inputting people. Then when you get out and start inputting more people, you'll have to type the letter out again. It auto defaults back to the default letter. And so that's the letter they get. And then depending on the frequency you set them up on, this is the email, this is the frequency they get. It says, see what's happening around 1918 Floyd. 10 houses sold and it takes an average of 21 days. Well, I want to see how it compares. So when I click on that, this opens up. It's got in there the map, the houses that have sold going back about 1 year, all of the details on them, all of whether the square foot is above or below their house, the lot size, so on. If they want to see it on a map, they click on map. And it shows where you're located and the houses around you, it pulled out. And all I did was put in a name, address, and email. Here's the deal, guys. Your clients are sitting out there in a house they bought 4 years ago or 3 years ago, or friends and neighbors that have been in a house for 6 to 10 years, and they have no idea that this house that I purchased, let's see, when was that? That would have been 1991, first new house I purchased. I bought for $83,000. And you can see now the prices have doubled. Now, I realize that was a long time ago and it's changed, but I can also tell you that this house sold somewhere around 2005, 2008 for about 120,000. It's now worth 60 grand more. Your folks don't know what houses have sold at and around them. And if nothing else, you send this out and they find out what the neighborhood's doing, your clients will get excited about, maybe I ought to look at houses. I'm going to pick on Sandra now for a minute. She's got 28 people in there, and I know at least 2 or 3 people have told her they like this, and a couple are thinking about listing their homes. Even if you have people that are getting ready to list, or they've contacted you and said, I'm thinking about it, take the 2 minutes or the 30 seconds it takes to put this in and get your client started on this drip email. Now, if you want to ask me How often Sandra wants to get this? I think it depends on your client. If they're selling their home right now, you might want to put it out every month. If you've got clients that have been in their house for 10 years, maybe twice a year. If they've been in just 6 months, you might want to go annually. And just, it's a way to reach out and touch them with something that everybody wants to know. What's going on in my neighborhood? What are my houses worth? Does everybody get that?
Yes.
You guys are painfully silent. Okay, I've been talking
Greg.
nonstop.
Yeah, I
Yes.
get it.
Greg,
Yes.
about a year ago when my personal house had sold on Hazelwood, I don't know who or how they got my email address, but I started getting that same HomeBeat thing in my email showing me the value of the home.
This home
What
beat? Not this.
I think that I don't know if it was this one. It was a Keller Williams that had been sending it, and I might forward it to you when I get it because I get it once a month. But it's still, even though the house is sold, it's still sending me that average what it's went up. And I almost dispute what the price that it is showing because that was my personal house and it's sold and I do watch it.
Well, I
So
can
I
tell
don't
you,
know if sometimes if it's throwing the right number to our
well,
clients.
I can tell you several things. All of the
Okay.
data from HomeBeat is directly connected to our MLS, period.
Okay.
It
Mhm.
comes from no place else.
Mhm.
It doesn't estimate what your house is worth. It's telling you what the other houses sold for or are listed for in the MLS. This product also just rolled out in August. So it couldn't have been something way back spring or whatnot, because this product, there may
Okay.
be similar product out there, but this is not it.
Okay, and you're right. What I have actually shows me the value of my home, or how
Right.
much it's went up.
And this one won't show you, it's going to compare. If you look at the stats, it's
Okay.
going to say 1918 Floyd, and you see there's no price or anything else. Here's the other houses. Here's the dollar per square foot. If I want a price on Floyd, I have to click Get an Expert Home Valuation. And then the sender of this, being you guys from your sphere of influence, get an email that says, Greg Fox wants to know what his house is worth. You should do a CMA.
Okay.
Okay.
This is a different setup, but it is a home beat. It does say home beat that comes to me.
Well, I would like to see it, but it
You
ain't
bet.
this. Okay.
Okay, cool
I got,
beans.
Cindy, I got that a couple years back also from Keller Williams.
See? Yeah, I'm not nutty.
So here's my
Thank you.
point to you guys. Right now, we're desperate for listings. Not only us as a company, us as a city, because our listings are approximately 30% of what our normal average is. I don't know why everybody hasn't logged in and put at least 1, 2, 5, 12. You can put in as many people as you want. If you want to mass upload them, at least you'll get something that goes out to them, right? Even if you don't do all the addresses correctly. But I think Sandra was doing like 5 a night. She'd sit with her iPad or a computer or something. You can do that. We can work to find people that might do it for, put them in here for you if we need to. But guys, let's get some listings going because we desperately need them. Okay, unless there's anybody that wants to say anything, I'm going to quit recording.
Greg, I just want to make a couple of comments on this. I think this is a great tool to let your past clients know what type of market activity is going on. I am fearful, though, that sometimes those sellers who may be thinking about selling this may set the bar a little too high as far as what their true home value might be. So I just, not that you shouldn't use this program, please do. I'm just saying be prepared that you might get hit up with people saying, well, the HomeBeats said this, this, and that. Keep in mind that the prices that HomeBeats is showing are the contract price, not a net. So if like this one on West 19th Street sold for 125,000, if if the seller paid 5,000 in closing costs, then it really sold for 170. So it's not going to show the net prices. So just be aware of that.
No.
Also, like Greg said at the start, it's going to take a look at the total square footage, including the basement, and that can skew the price per square foot. So just be prepared that if your sellers see that there's a number of houses here that have sold between 175 and 180, then they may have higher expectations than what really their house might be worth.
That's true, but keep in mind as we look here, dollar per square foot is all over the place. It isn't like all of these have the same. Yeah, and we're giving high price, low price, average, median, the average dollars per square foot, and the same thing with the average days on market versus how many days some of these were very, very low. So it's like anything else. This data has to be analyzed and presented properly by a good agent. And I think the upfront email kind of helps that. But I'll tell you what this is better than, and that's Zestimates, which doesn't give anything like that or give the interior pictures or the things so that you know how they actually compare. Because if I pull this up, I can look at all of the pictures of this house right out of the MLS. So there is a lot of information that people have, and maybe, just maybe, somebody who's thinking about selling will say, well, I should get 185 because they did. And then they look at the pictures and they say, oh, I didn't update it, my home anywhere near like these folks did. I'm going to have to do some work to get my house worth that much. So anyway, having said all that, I'm going to stop the recording. Let me stop sharing first.
I had a question for Sandra. So since she's using it, do you run into problem or have you actually got the call where you go out to list it and the price was too high? And was it difficult to convince them or to explain to them the reason why they're not getting what you've been sending them? Because that was my thought, what Lance was saying, to try to
I haven't had an issue with it yet. I just have two people that have been thinking about it and explained to them that this is kind of just a snapshot, but when it gets time to get serious about listing, that I'm going to come back out, do a walkthrough, and we're going to do I'm going to do a more thorough, in-depth CMA,
I was just wondering.
yeah. Not yet, but I think we just need to be aware and be prepared that, a lot of this is automated and, like Lance said, it's not going to reflect the net cost. And then, amenities can be a factor too. So we just, we need to prove our worth in doing a more CMA, but a more thorough CMA, but I think it's a great way. I'm planning on, with most of my people, going to do it quarterly because I think monthly is a lot. I think semi-annually or annually is not enough. And I think it's good information. So it's a good way to touch them once a quarter with, fairly reasonable stuff with just like Greg said, it doesn't take long at all. What I did when I inputted it, the ones that I've done so far is I had my MLS up on one screen so I could pull up when I helped them buy the house. So I could go in and change the bedrooms and the bathrooms and the square footage if needed, because it does pull in just above ground AGLA into when it auto populates that. But the comps that it's going to pull is, I believe, is going to be reflective of total finish. Now, what Greg said, when the letter reverts back, when you go in and edit the the facts, the TFLA and the bedrooms, I was told when I reached out to HomeBeat that when you go in and change those for that specific listing, the next quarter when it comes out, it will stay with the changes that you've made.
That's correct.
Which I was happy with. So
it's the only thing that reverts back is once you're done putting in people for a while and you leave the program and you come back, then as you try to add another person, your letter is not saved as what you had used before. And the square footage is and your letter will be in there if you edit and so on. Don't sweat that too much. Now, if you wanted to, you could, I'm going to share my screen again. You could say something to the effect of, in your email, you can rewrite it all and say, I'm not going to give you what your house is worth. What I'm just showing you is what's sold around you. And I think it has always been true. The first step that people take when they're looking for selling their home is they go on the internet, according to survey, and they look for what other houses have been selling for around them. They generally go to Zillow. And I'm saying beat them to the punch and be the person who provides it. This never gives a value for the house. They're going to have to do the dollar per square foot across here. They're going to have to see the age and all of those other things. And when you look at the stats, oh yeah, I can turn things off to find out what the average has changed. But all I'm dealing with here is average. And you'll find that most people go to right to average and think that's what their house is probably going to be worth. They could think it's more or less. And yes, you're going to have to explain why we do things differently. But guys, we have to have more closings. And I would rather have them think the house might be just a tad over than a tad under. And let's get them interested in finding out what their value really is, and let's see if we can get a new listing going. That's my thoughts, I guess, anyway.
I want to throw this in there. Maybe it's already in that introductory letter that you were showing on the first screen there, Greg. You definitely want to put a call to action in there as far as asking your clients if they are serious about getting, thinking about listing, that you'd be glad to do a CMA or expert home valuation, and to reach out to you or click the button. I would make sure that you have that call to action in the email.
Well, let's go look at one. Great. As you probably know, there are plenty of websites to estimate your home value. Truly understand the local market, regular checking what homes around being listed, and most importantly, what they'll sell for. You can unsubscribe. I've set the frequency. If you need anything from me, feel free to call me or email. You can do that. The call to action is also on each of their the screens here. Get a free home valuation. I guess it's not on that screen, but I know it's on this screen, and it's also in their email. But I'm going back to saying, guys, we need listings. The city needs listings. Find some. If you don't like my way to contact them, then please use your way. But if you're not going to do if you say, I don't want to contact them, I know I should, start putting a few people in these a day. Spend 10 minutes in the morning and add 3 people and get your former clients contacted. We got to have listings. Okay. I'm going to stop recording.